Hi, SpunOut.ie, I'm Nikki Hayes from RTE2FM. Oh god, big time. It definitely is very important. If you think about this whole R word, which we hate talking about, recession, I think hugely that's been played up by Radio 1 News Talk, different news bulletins and talk shows talking about the recession, the recession. Radio is like word of mouth that very much influences whatever's going on. All it takes is for one DJ, one presenter, one news reporter to come on and say something, for one person to hear that, they'll turn around and say it to another person, and before you know it, it spreads like wildfire. It still has the power of word of mouth. I've seen different things over the years be actually transported through radio. I mean, news might break of something and all of a sudden everybody knows, and you're kind of like, how do you know about that? But somebody heard it on some station who said it to somebody else, and then it ends up somewhere else, somewhere else, somewhere else. I think the thing is that the word of mouth is so much greater with the broadcast that instead of getting to, 1, 10, 15, 100, 1,000 people, it can get to millions of people very quickly, So I can't think of one in particular, but I do know many different things that happened. I mean, even more recently when Jerry Ryan passed, I had a phone call maybe about a half an hour after the news came out from somebody who didn't work here in RTE to tell me, and I said, how did you know? It was already on another radio station. That's how quickly things can pass, So if it's a social issue, I mean, if you look at the guys who over in Israel who were shot, and I mean, how quickly did that get from Israel to here? That, okay, it wasn't just radio, it was media, but it just shows how quickly things can get from one country to another and around to different people. The message, whatever message you want, it's up to the media as to how they use the power of the media to get what messages across. I would think so, if they're using it for positive reasons. I know many a time that, if I want to get some sort of campaign that I'm working on, I want help on it. I'm jumping out of a plane for Teen Line Ireland, or I want to find a new home for the Breast Cancer Society. I will use my show as a platform to say that. So I think if young people have got the they get the chance to speak on radio, they get the chance to go on Joe Duffy or Ryan Tubridy, or they get to talk about something, go do it, because you're not going to be just talking to Ryan Tubridy, you're going to be talking to 500,000 plus people. And if you have a message, and you might think it's very, very small, it might be something about water pollution in Ballygo Backwards, well, the whole country are going to know about it within a couple of moments. So it's definitely still a very, very powerful method to use, but just make sure you use it in the right way. I think people can sometimes, whether it be producers, station managers, presenters themselves, can be afraid to tackle certain issues. I know the late Jerry Ryan was never afraid of it, and he was a man who definitely fulfilled from one end to the other the whole power of radio, because there was nothing that he wouldn't be afraid to deal with. Then you'd have certain broadcasters like Joe Duffy, another prime example, that I think he definitely does cover everything and anything that can be covered, and gives a platform to people that they would never have. Is radio living up to what it should be? No, I don't think so, because there's very small shows that do it, and then there could be a huge crisis that might happen and other shows are told to turn a blind eye. People don't want to hear about the recession, they don't want to hear about this happening. Oh god, you can't talk about the volcano anymore. There's things where we're told to hold back, people don't want to hear about it, but I think the people should be allowed to tell us what they want to hear about, instead of us being told, oh, they don't want to hear about that. So, are radio doing everything they should be doing? No. Isn't suicide still a taboo? Isn't, there's plenty of other things that, you just don't talk about. Gay marriages, they're things that might come up every now and then, but on the whole, oh, we can't talk about it, it might upset the Catholic Church. My answer to that's complete and utter bullshit. If it needs to be talked about, talk about it. I don't do a talk show, therefore, probably someone wiser than me said not giving her the platform. But I think, if people want to talk about things and that's what your job is, you should give them, the platform to do so. Like I said, Jerry did it perfectly, and, he was one of the most successful broadcasters around for as long as he was on air. The whole thing about radio is your own personality, your own take on things. So if an opportunity came up, obviously for a young person starting out, you're not going to get your own radio show. The best you can hope for is you might have an issue that you want to bring up. Contact your local station, whatever talk show they have. Give them what you want to talk about. Say you'd like to come on and explain what it is. A lot of local stations would be very happy to have any local content. So if you say to them, I want to come on and talk about the fact that in my area there is no gay rights group, I want this addressed, I want to set up a group, let's do it. I can guarantee you they're going to call you in and tell you to come in. Now you've got your platform. It's how you use it. You know, that's going to determine whether or not it's a positive or a negative experience. But have the balls to go and do it, because I think people think, oh, they won't listen to me, so I won't bother doing it. 9 times out of 10, if not more, they will listen to you and they will give you a platform. Okay, you're not going to get straight on Joe Duffy's show or something like that. There's a process to get there. But if you go through your local stations, there's no reason why a local newspaper won't pick up your campaign, and then before you know it, it could be in the Star, the Independent, and then Joe Duffy's going to ring you. You know, so you can get right to the top.